So today we're going to talk about how to keep spirits or ghosts out of your house. What to do when they show up, how to cleanse the house, and how to keep them away. Hey witches, this is Papa G. We're going to talk about a different witchy, occult, or metaphysical topic. Some may be folklore, some may be folk magic, some may be spells. We'll do all sorts of things. So, what do you do when you have spirits in the house? Now, it's not always a bad thing to have spirits in the house. We're talking about ones that cause trouble. When you actually feel this icky, eerie foreboding around the house. Um, the first thing you want to do is cleanse the house. Now, everyone goes to uh, white sage first, and that's not the be all end all. Um, we can do that, and we'll get into that. But part of cleansing the house is actually cleaning your house. You want to make it a place where it is not a good habitat for darker spirits or entities to stay. So if there are any rooms that are particularly dark, um, ones that it's the room that you don't feel like going in and spending all of your time in, do something to change up that room. Open the curtains, let in the sunlight, let the light actually shine into that room for several days. And you do need to clean the house. I mean, a clean space, a good smelling space is something that we would say a darker entity would not be attracted to. So you can then actually cleanse the house with some sort of smoke ritual. Many people have an aversion to a white sage for different spiritual reasons. I may not subscribe to that, but there's tons of bundles you can get. There's rosemary bundles. Rosemary is used a lot in Scottish witchcraft. There are lavender bundles. A lot of people use Palo Santo. Some people have problems with that too. These days, people have problems with everything. But there's cedar. There is blue sage, which is actually tumbleweed. A lot of people don't know that blue sage is also known as tumbleweed. There is what's called black sage, which is not really sage. It is mugwort bound up. So a lot of you witches will like that one. But the act of cleansing a house in smoke. My idea of the perfect scenario is to cleanse yourself first, which would be, it could be a spiritual bath. It could be a ritual with the other people around you praying or chanting over you, whatever your religious path is. And then you make sure you are a clean vessel who is then cleansing the house. And if you do want to do smoke cleansing, what you do is, if you're in a 2-story house, you start upstairs. You start at the room that's the farthest away from the main entrance. And when I say the main entrance, I mean the entrance that you use. Not all of us use our front door as our main entrance. So we use our back door. So to me, that would be the main entrance. And you start in the room farthest away, open the windows so the energy and the smoke can release. Get you a fire safe dish, light the bundle. And I found the best way to keep a bundle lit is to kind of break it open a little bit before you light it and go from room to room. Like I said, depending on your spiritual practice, you're praying, you're chanting, you're reciting something, going from room to room, asking anything that doesn't belong there to leave. You go all around the room, up in the corners, in the closets. Some people go in the drawers. And then you go from room to room. Like I said, if you're upstairs, you go through all those rooms, then downstairs. Start at the back side again, through all the rooms until you go out the door. So that is smoke cleansing. A lot of people use all sorts of crystals, and a lot of people tell you tourmaline is one to use. Someone's always mentioning amethyst. Seems like it's for everything, when really I would think that quartz crystals could be used for anything. which you can. A few lesser known ones for spiritual energy would be shungite and jet. A lot of people use black obsidian. It's a lot of the black stones that people use for negativity, or to absorb negativity, or to ward off something negative. So that's something else that can be done. When you're cleansing the house, one thing to do is salt, to cleanse away whatever's in the house. You would take it and actually sprinkle it on the floors and then sweep it back up. Now, before this, you can prep your salt. It doesn't have to be just plain salt. And I don't mean rock salt, I mean plain old Morton's salt, table salt. Some people will mix in lavender. You can even grind lavender in a coffee grinder to make a lavender powder to mix in the salt. And another thing to do would be to prep it the day before and mix holy water in with the salt. Just a little bit. You're going to mix it all together and then lay it out and let it dry. And then use that in the different rooms. And you sweep it all up and then sweep it out the door. Other people will take salt and make a ring around the house. Now, you want to do this, you just want to sprinkle it. You want to make a complete protective ring after you cleanse the inside. But if you use too much, it can actually kill your plants. So that's why you're sprinkling it. You're not making a strong line. Otherwise, like I said, you're gonna see it. You're gonna see a ring of dead grass. So that's another way to protect your space. Another one is to be vocal. You have to be vocal and tell the spirit to leave the house, and you have to do it, we'll say, with fervor. You can't just say, "Hey, can you leave the house?" It's got to be like, "This is my house. I'm asking you to leave. You are not wanted here. You are not welcome here." So you have to be almost firm about it. So if it's a spirit that's, let's say it's a spirit that's not really bothering you, you don't think it's a harmful one, you can just ignore them. I mean, sometimes they're just bound to a place, or they like a place and they're around, and you kind of sense them, but there's no problem with it. So if that's true, I always tell people, just leave them alone. You also have some really old traditional, it goes so old it's far beyond the word traditional, things to do when there are spirits or even demons in the house. There's something called an incantation bowl, which can be called a demon bowl or a devil trap bowl, a magic bowl. What you do is you use them to trap a demon inside, and then they were buried face down. And what they were done is meant to capture demons that way. Um, they were commonly placed in places like thresholds and courtyards, in the corner of homes. When we went to the Hoodoo Heritage Festival out in California in 2019, we actually made a form of this, which is, demon bowls are not to be confused with, there's a subcategory called incantation bowls. And they were mainly in Jewish magical practices, and they were used to like ward off evil, ward off the evil eye, things like that. And Dr. Jeremy Weiss was teaching a class, and we all had clay, and we all formed a bowl, and then we inscribed it. And what you do is you start in the middle, and you've been going all the way around with whatever your message is. So, there are two forms of this. One is the incantation bowl, one is the demon bowl. So, not to confuse those two things. Another practice comes from old New England. I mean, there's plenty of historic houses that are found with these markings in them. And people would put markings like in fireplaces, doorways. A lot of times they're Roman numerals carved into the wood and the framing elements. And they're meant to keep spirits out of the house. Sometimes they're hash marks, sometimes they're grids. A lot of times you see interlocking circles to actually, almost like a trap or a ward, to keep them completely away from the house. Another thing they did was very common was to bury personal items in the walls. Most of the time, shoes. And you would do this, near doorways, windows, fireplaces. When you were building a fireplace, they may put some old shoes inside to keep the spirits away, to keep them from entering through the fireplace. It's through windows, through doors. So that is something that is probably from around the 15th, 16th century and was practiced, I think, all the way up to the 17th, 18th century. And when they have excavated these houses, they have actually found personal items inside the walls, particularly shoes. So some of the signs you're dealing with a spirit would be, you actually feel it. I mean, like I said, some of your rooms may feel darker and the energy's darker, and those are the ones you want to focus more on. Picking up odd smells, usually that is more signs of a negative spirit in the house. And of course, there is the old thing of actually having clergy come out. And clergy doesn't have to mean Christian. Clergy can mean high priestess to come out and bless and cleanse the house. So odd smells are usually some a foul smell is something that's you don't want there. Other times you may smell things like perfume or roses, and that can be just a signifier that there is a good spirit there. Strange sounds. Now, the first thing about strange sounds is you need to investigate and make sure it's not something natural. You could keep hearing this weird scraping when really the tree limbs near the house need to be trimmed back. It could be something in the walls. Check and see if you have mice. So you have to first count out all of these things that discount all of these things to make sure that's not what's going on, something completely natural. Electricity keeps cutting out. Often that is a sign that something is absorbing the energy, or the lights flicker a lot. Temperature drops. You begin to feel this cold. That can be a spirit. One time when Roy and I were living this was a long time ago, 15, 16, 17 years ago, at our other house, let's say you are my television screen. We're sitting on the couch. Here's the television screen, and over there is the doorway to the bedroom, over on the side. And you're sitting on the couch, and you can see in the bedroom. And right around the corner from there was a hall light. It was a strange setup. You went into the bedroom through a walk-in closet to get into the bathroom. So there's the light coming from the closet into the bedroom, which we can see. And then we see a shadow pass across the light. And this house was full of spirits. We could sense them all the time, but there was nothing bad about them. We saw this shadow go across the light and we both saw it at the same time, across the light of the bedroom. And then suddenly, a cold air crept its way up to the couch where we were sitting. And after that, all of the spirits in the house were gone. So we don't know what that was. It did not feel good, but also it didn't stick around, so we didn't have to do anything about that. But it was a very strange experience. It was just this cold rush, and then all of a sudden, as we noticed the next couple of days, there's no ghosts in here anymore. They all got the hell out. So they didn't like that either. Seeing something out of the corner of your eye. Sometimes a spirit, sometimes people say that's little fairies or brownies. But the main thing about getting spirits out of your house, if they're unwanted, is you have to be firm that you want them out. When you cleanse the house, smoke cleansing or real cleaning, you have to do it with conviction, and you're not just in there cleaning. You don't have your earbuds in. You are cleaning while reciting or praying. that I am doing with this with the intention that it will cleanse this house and get these things out. Everything you're doing has a purpose. Every movement you make while cleaning has a purpose. It is a chant, it is an incantation. So you're not just cleaning, you're cleaning. When you're doing your smoke cleansing, you sense this smoke, which is a force that you're putting out. It's not just the smoke, it's you. You're using it as a catalyst to drive something out. And you have to believe that with every time you wave the sage or the burning lavender or incense or whatever you're doing. So conviction, courage of your conviction is one of the most important things. Don't be afraid to face it. And lastly, don't be afraid to reach out for help if what you're doing is not working. Maybe you have a local coven who altogether it would be more of a force, or some people may turn to a priest. They won't always come in with the acknowledgement that you have a spirit, but they will bless the house, usually if you're a part of the church, or many religions have a basic blessing on houses. So that's what we have on this topic. We're going to pull a card for everyone for the energy of the day, and today we're using the White Mojo Lenormand. So we're going to see what this energy is. It is the cross card. The cross card is about sacrifice. There's something today you're going to have to give up in order to get something. This doesn't have to be major. This can be like, okay, I need to apologize for something if I want them to behave in a certain way around me today. It can actually be it can be giving up anything, giving up money, giving up time. It is a sacrifice. So you're actually giving something up in order to get something. All right, so tomorrow is Halloween, and what are we going to talk about in the next episode? We're going to talk about Samhain. Halloween, Samhain, the different forms this day takes, its history, and some of the neat things you can do to celebrate the day. So until next time, this is Papa G. Till later. Bye-bye.